Hi, this is Lauren from Daisy Cottage Designs, and I'm here with a video tutorial for you for these cute scrunchies. These are really easy scrunchies to make. I make them in about 5 or 6 minutes. I've used some cotton yarn and I've used some velvet yarn, and both have really cute results. I think you're going to like this pattern, but I wanted to go ahead and walk you through how to get started if you've never crocheted around an elastic band before. So what I'm using for this is I'm using an I-9 crochet hook, which is a 5.5mm hook. And I'm using an infinity band. So these are the Give Me Beauty infinity hair ties. I really like these because they don't break. If you use a hair tie that can snap, once your scrunchie is made and the hair tie snaps, there's really no going back and fixing it. So I really like to use these because I've never had one break. I am using Dishie yarn for this one. That's what I used for all of my cotton scrunchies. And what we're going to do to get started is we're just going to tie a slip knot like we would before we start a chain. So I've tied my slip knot and I'm going to attach it to my hook and pull it tight. And then I need to get my hairband up here. So I'm going to slip it over the end of my hook to where it's kind of floating on my working yarn. And then you're gonna want to have your crochet hook in front of your hairband. So you can see that I've got this is the yarn that's coming from the skein. The hair tie is resting on it, and then my tail is coming out from the bottom. So at that point, I'm going to chain 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to work 40 double crochet cluster stitches around our hairband. Now, if you have a smaller or a larger hairband, you might need to work more. And if you're using a thicker yarn, you might need to work less. So it just is, it's totally adjustable, but for this hairband and this yarn, I'm going to work 40. And double crochet cluster stitches, if you're not familiar, they're very easy. You're going to yarn over and insert your hook under the band and pull up a loop. You know what, let me start over because I want to work over this yarn. So I'm going to hold this yarn right on top of my hair tie. So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the band and pull up a loop. There are 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through those first 2 loops. Now to finish a normal double crochet, what I would do is yarn over and pull through these 2 loops on my hook, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the stitch again and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then to finish the stitch, I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the band again, around that band. There are 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Now I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook around the band again and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And I'm going to work over this tail a couple more times, and then I will pull it to the back and finish weaving it later. I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook around the band and pull up a loop. There are 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through those first 2 loops. I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook around the band again and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to pull through the first 2 loops, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to kind of pull this down to the back, and I'm just going to keep working my double crochet 2 together stitches until I have just really covered this hair elastic. So for me, it's going to be about 40 stitches. And once I have finished that, I'm going to come back and I will show you how I weave my ends. Okay, so I have just made my last stitch, and I'm going to cut my yarn, leaving a long tail. And I'm not going to slip stitch to join. I'm just going to pull my yarn straight up through my stitch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a really small eye on my needle today, so hopefully I can get this through. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave my end. So let me show you what I've got. This is the last stitch that I've made. This is the first stitch that I made. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my yarn underneath both loops coming from the back underneath both loops of the first stitch that I made on this whole thing. And I don't want to cinch it tight because you see it would just make, I'm going to make a V like the top of a stitch. If I pull it too tight, it's going to be a lot smaller than my other ones. So I want to keep it pretty loose. And then what I'm going to do, so this was the first stitch I made. This is the last stitch I made. I'm going to come down in the middle of the last stitch that I made and go underneath those loops in the back of my stitch. And I'm going to pull it. And when I do that, it's going to look like I just have one additional stitch there in my round. And that gives a really polished look. Now again, if I pull it too tight, it's going to cinch it. It won't look like the top of the stitch. So make sure you don't pull it very tight. Just keep your hands there and pull it till it looks about the same size as the other stitches. If you need to loosen it back up, you can stick your needle underneath and do that. Okay, so pull it until it looks about the same as the other stitches. You've woven down through the back of the stitch a little bit. Keep going until you get to the base of your stitches, and you'll just work both ways to weave your ends. All right, now I'm going to work back this way. And I'm even going to work back this way one more time. And that will weave my end. And I'm going to stretch my stitches back out. I would cut this end. And then to finish it off, I would weave this end too, but you know how to do that now. And then you're good to go. If you want to, you can add a little label or a tag. And I hope you have a great day. Happy crocheting. If you have any questions, let me know and I would be happy to answer them.